This is blue. What's going on? Okay, there we go. All right. Greetings, everybody. How are y'all doing? Okay, hold on. I have this keychain thing on my phone screen, and it's like little weird. Little. I guess it's supposed to be there. I'm gonna just leave it. Before I get started, I'm gonna just wait till I don't know, people get notifications, you know how YouTube is. I'm just gonna write it out for a second and then we'll tap into our Ghetto Fairy Friday. If anybody's on watching. Okay. Yeah, I have this little keychain thing on my device and it's like blocking the screen. I can't get it off. Yeah, it's not gonna let me bypass that. Now, is it? Nope. All right. I will be right back. All right, I fixed it. Okay, because I'm like, this is annoying. Like, I got to get this off my screen. All right, I will be right back real quick, fast, and we'll get started. All right. How is everybody doing tonight? How is everybody feeling? Hopefully, everybody's doing all right. You know, energies, there's a lot going on in the planets, a lot of transits and whatnot. So, I do expect people to maybe be a little fatigued. That's, normal. Okay. So, before before we get started, I do want to do like a sound, just like a little sound healing therapy, for you guys. Hopefully that brings us into groundedness and all that good stuff. So, welcome to our Ghetto Fairy Friday tonight. Okay, so if anybody has been feeling heavy lately, maybe a little bit foggy, groggy, tired, feeling uncertain about your life or uncertain about specific things in your life, directionless, or just feeling stagnant. Tonight we will be cleansing, we'll be charging, resetting, or at least giving you guys a little bit of tools for that. Essentially what we're doing is emotional resetting, energy resetting. And we'll also be tapping in with a collective reset reading. Okay. And then I'll get into multiple magical ways to use water in your spiritual work that most may overlook, Also, just some practical rituals that you can actually use as well. Okay. So before we get started, let's get a little sound therapy going for us because we need that, right? We need that every now and then. I know I need that. Not even gonna lie. Okay. Hopefully nobody's driving. Wait, let me disclaimer, y'all. Hopefully nobody is driving. I need y'all to be somewhere where you can sit and relax and not be distracted. And if you feel overwhelmed by the sound or anything moving in your body, breathe through it. Take deep breaths and exhale deeply if you need, okay? If it's too much, you guys can turn it down and come back. Did y'all feel anything? Was it, I know that was real quick. I just feel like we needed that just for a second. Did you guys feel anything? Let me know if you're live here with me. Let me know in the chat. If you watch this, the replay, leave it in the comments. Did you feel anything in your body? Any visuals, anything pop up in your mind? I did have some things come through. I might share what I'm picking up because I feel like this relates what I'm picking up for the collective. Let me put my baby back because I don't want to just leave it out. I'm going to put it back on the shelf and I'll be right back and we can get started. No. Girl, my dog was trying to eat my microphone piece now. Come on now. Nova. Okay. All right, y'all. So we're going to get into the collective reading. So the energy that I was seeing, I was picking up a lot of green. So heart chakra energy, obviously heaviness in the heart space. I heard fear of missing out. Some may feel like time has kind of passed you by. You may feel something about stress and maybe even a little bit of envy. This is aging, okay? This is causing people to age quickly than they're supposed to. I'm just seeing like bitterness. I'm getting, some of you guys need to do like a cleanse, something with mucus buildup. Something need to be cleansed in that sense. Maybe even some gut cleansings, colon cleansing, whatever you want to call it. The word shame, regrets, guilt, and those were again attached to feeling as though you're late, like you're behind, or yeah, those were the energies that was coming through. Okay, so let's tap into our collective read and we'll see what energies want to come through as far as this reset. Okay, so let's tap into the collective energy of those who are meant to receive this. Our divine team, our angels, our ancestors, I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your guidance, your wisdom, protection. Okay. Let's see, collective energy, divine source. What's a message for the collective? What's a message for the collective? Okay. You may be frustrated with yourself. This is like an energy. I feel like what's depleting you is connected to how you see yourself right now. Okay. You might be looking at all of the sacrifices that you've made, all of the prayers that you put out, all of the, could even be with the divine masculine energy, like how you showed up. So you could be a man or a woman. It doesn't have to be like divine masculine energy is like just subject to gender, but more so like if you tapped into your divine masculine energy to, to take proper leadership or assertion and integrity and things like that, and you feel like it's gotten you nowhere. Okay. This could be where you feel depleted. You feel depleted within your efforts. Depleted and like you feel, okay, I could have been an asshole. I could have just fucked off and did nothing with my life, but instead I chose to do this, X, Y, and Z. I chose to stay on point, stay focused. I chose to sacrifice going out or dating certain people. I did a lot of different things that I felt and believed were of, my highest good, but where has that gotten me? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. Okay, let's see. And clarify this. Some of you guys could have had a recent moment where you feel like was evidence that a prayer of yours was never going to be answered. It's like something that happened, and it doesn't mean that that's factual that your prayer won't happen, but it's an experience that you had that makes you feel that way. Okay. All right, let's see. Bottom of the deck, the Sun of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands. So you have the Ace of Discs, which is the Pentacles, Six of Swords, the Daughter of Wands, which is the Page of Wands. Okay. Yeah, it's like my best efforts. I've planted proper seeds. I've been patient. I've made some changes even in my environment, like where the people that I connect with, or maybe even jobs. I've shifted out of certain spaces I felt like would be healthy for me, or made some shifts and changes around these things. Where has that gotten me? And some of you guys feel like you were foolish, or you were misled or misguided, or that you misguided yourself. So this is where the depletion comes in. It's a little bit of frustration with yourself. Okay. You feel like you have not been participating in life the way that you feel that you should have. In some kind of way, you feel like you've been a performer for everyone, that you've had to play perfect human being for everyone. If my hands look ashy, it's because I put some egg white powder on my car. So they ashy. Yeah, they look ashy. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it looks really ashy. But anyway, yeah, so it's like feeling like you've had to perform to be this perfect human being for everybody else, being everything for everyone, but feeling like you've forgotten about you. Or you felt like the foolish one that, like, while everybody is living their life and everybody seems to be doing well for themselves or something like that. It's a perception, but this is just doesn't necessarily mean that it's true that this is what's going on in their life, but you perceive it that way. And it's like you feel you've just been jucking and jiving and, performing and gotten to nowhere. That's kind of the frustration that I'm picking up on, you know. Um, Maybe you feel energetically depleted as well. Like energy wise, you don't have that zeal, that get up and go that you used to have. Um, it could be a little bit with age, but at the same time, I feel like it's due to disappointment. I feel like it's due to disappointment. Yeah, it's disappointment. Um, let's see what else. Should I keep pulling? Let's see. Oh, dice. Okay, so you have crossroads, you have juju, you have clarity, discernment, omnivision, Oshun, and grace. Okay. This is this can resonate differently with everyone, but I feel like specifically there may be some of you out there who work with Oshun, who resonate with Oshun, who are daughters or son of Oshun. So this message might hit a little bit more for you as well. So you guys, I feel if you've been working with Oshun for healing purposes, okay, not necessarily asking for gifts and give me this and that, or just dedicating in devotion just with her, but it's like a work of, anyone could resonate with this outside of the Oshun devotion, just in general. I feel, dang, it's my mama. Okay, my bad. It's my mom. Um, my mama trying to FaceTime me. Okay. No, but I feel like the energy of some sort of, some of you guys could have recently prayed for something to direct you or guide you through some type of spiritual work. Now, spiritual work does not have to be literally like with some sort of tools or anything like that. It could be through prayer, it could be through fasting, okay? But for some of you, it is that you took it to a particular guide or ancestor god, source, maybe specifically, like I said, Oshun, and asking for divine wisdom, okay? This was like an earnest prayer. And through that, okay, I feel like what is happening is that whatever you feel at a crossroads about, whatever you feel is lost, you will get the clarity. Okay. So confusion is being cleansed. This up and down with this dice. Should I not? Feeling like it's almost like you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go in a sense, or like what's really happening. What should I do? Am I in the way? Is there something or someone blocking me? Do I have bad juju on me? No, you don't. Um, you're not you're not blocked. You're not unlucky. You're not cursed. None of that. Okay. Spirit, what is this energy? Okay, you have the Two of Cups, the Seven of Wands, the Shaman of Swords, which is the King of Swords in this deck, technically, and the Son of Swords is at the bottom, which is the Knight of Swords. And I don't know why he got his dick out, but he does, okay? And it's very small. Um, no, but I'm just getting like, as far as the energy, it does feel like a devotional energy, like you've sought some sort of assistance or help. Could be literally like someone that is an expert or a healer, literally maybe a shaman, a therapist, some sort of wise counsel or someone that you trust to make sense of where you're headed and where you're going. Okay. Where are you supposed to be? I'm getting something with Jacob's ladder. Okay. Some of you guys may benefit from some sort of ceremonial healing. Okay. Especially if you are indigenous, you might need to seek out someone that you trust, someone of your tribe. Um, some of you will benefit from healing by the water, and we'll get into that too when I talk about the benefits of water healing. So, yeah, I'm not going to do too much. I'm not going to overwhelm myself with too much. So, I won't take up too much of you guys' time, you know. So, let's see what else Spirit wants you to know. I'm not going to make this live too long because I also got to preserve my energy, you know, because sometimes I be doing too much, very little, for very little. And I'm done doing that shit, Chad. I'll tell you right now, I'm done doing that, overextending myself for very little. No support, no none. I'm good off that. Let's see. Fish came out. So some of you guys might need some level of protein in your diet. But this also can represent the flow, okay? Being in flow. These cards, man. Perfume, powder, release. Okay. The Watcher, Chant, Cleanse, and Divine Mother. All right, so your essence, your energy, okay, so there's something about protection and yeah, I'm getting like a form of protection and sealing. Something about your aura as well. So your energy, I feel like this is a period of release, okay? Especially if something with your diet or you actively changing something in your diet or just a lot of purging is happening right now energetically, or this is what you're being encouraged to do. You know, to reclaim your power, it's like Spirit wants you to be more vigilant about what you say and how you say it. If you're going to use your words, if you're going to repeat things and say things over and over about yourself, speak something around cleansing and purification and renewal and release. The Divine Mother energy may resonate with you guys if you work with maternal energies, or your own mother could be very, very central to your healing. With the Shaman card, I'm going back to this card. Someone that has a very powerful voice has a way to activate things for you or pray for you. Or if they are not here in this physical realm, they've transitioned, you still tap in and connect with this mother energy. Or this could be a grandmother as well. For some of you, this is like Virgin Mary, the Madonna, you know, mother, maternal energies, okay? Maternal essences, okay? So this energy that you're tapping into, I feel like this is a part of the reclaiming your power back, and it has everything to do with what you say, okay? What you're saying, how you say it, because pitch and frequency also is very powerful when you're chanting. Certain vibratory, like when you use your words in a certain vibration, it's also very powerful, and the tone that you use is very powerful as well when stating affirmations or mantras or chants. So like in music, if you notice, like in music, they chant, they'll repeat the same chorus over and over. They'll say the same thing over and over. And sometimes they'll sing it in different tones, different octaves, or like they'll have like background vocals and they're saying the same thing, but it's in different tones, if that makes sense. So, and that's how it gets into your subconscious mind. Like if you have an ear for music, some people might not hear certain beats, certain ad libs, certain background vocals in the way that some people hear it. So that within itself, like the power of music and the subconscious mind and how it trains you, especially like with music that you don't really listen to, you don't really like that. But if it's like a commercial song that they play on the radio often, you hear it everywhere you go. You hear it at the gas station, you hear it at the restaurants, the gym, you hear it at the grocery stores. You don't like it, but for some reason you know the words, word for word. So use your voice, different frequencies and tones when expressing certain things. Just like when someone says something to you that's hurtful, whether they're yelling at you or they say it in a very condescending tone or jokingly tone, it hits you in your body. You know, you feel it. You can feel the tension. You can feel the discord. You can feel, oh, this person don't like me, or oh, this person's trying to like come at me. Like you could feel those different frequencies. Just like when someone is saying a compliment, I'm gonna use this for an example. When a person's giving you a genuine compliment versus a fake confidence, like someone you could tell they're genuinely happy for you and celebrating by the tone of their voice, and then you kind of hear it as like, oh, good for you. It's like, it's fake, right? Even if they're smiling, you could tell like, So when you're chanting and when you're speaking things over yourself, tone and vibration is everything. How you say it. You can't lie to yourself either. You know, you can't lie and be like, oh, I feel good today. Because your body, your energy, your frequency knows that that's not true. You don't feel that. So train that. Work on that. Hey, sis. Hey, Tawanda. How are you? Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. Okay. Let's clarify. I'm going to use some Oracle cards on it. Let's use some Oracle cards. Let's see what else Spirit wants to say. And then we'll get into the whole ways to use water. All right. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to get me one. But you know those big, they're like really big seashells, and they're used as instruments. Maybe listening to some sound healing with like a shell instrument, or get you one. Some of you guys might resonate with that. Especially those that are drawn to the oceans, the waters, the creeks, the rivers. Like that may be something for you. Dolphin sounds are very healing. Okay, shelter and sacrifice and celebration. This is the second time the word the word sacrifice came out. It was, let me see. Yeah. So you've been a safe haven for everyone, and for some of you, like a romantic situation. Some of y'all recently went through a breakup, a separation, a divorce, or ending of an engagement. Maybe even for some of you, it's like you're currently in a relationship, but it's just not where you want it to be. So you may feel like you've been this safe haven for your partner or for partners or people that you care about just in general. And you feel like you've made yourself this, you know, being this soft, kind, gentle person to everyone. And this is a very morbid image, so I need to cover it up. It's a poor deer that looks like has been hunted. So you just feel like I've been kind. I've been this nurturing, loving person to everybody and for everyone. And where the fuck has that gotten me? You know, what has that done for me? You know, and it's not to say don't be a nice person. Don't be a good person. Okay. It's just more so coming from a perspective of sometimes like the sacrifices we made, if they're not equal to or in a loving exchange between those that you love and yourself, then it is like you're overextending, you're over sacrificing. Okay. That is a lesson that we all may have learned or are learning. Okay. Especially naturally, if you are a giver, you have to know how to preserve your energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. You might have been taught that it's selfish to prioritize your own self, your own wellness, not for the expense of saying, oh, it's all about me, fuck all of y'all, because that's not community, right? That's not tribal mindedness. Tribal mindedness, true tribe, true community is all about everybody participates. Everybody is important. Everybody is special. If they see that for themselves, like we could see it for everybody else and say, this person is quintessential to the community. This person, we love this person for who they are. We celebrate each other. We celebrate them. We all play a significant role in the ecosystem of our community, our tribe, right? When we participate. And as humans, we have our moments, we have our days. Part of what I can't stand about humans, and I don't mean to go on a tangent, but it's going to land. I promise. It's going to land. No, but what irks me about humans, like this part of us that, and I made a post about this earlier today, how people, especially what I notice in family dynamics, is that they have this thing in some family dynamics, especially if dealing with narcissistic abuse or parents or parental figures that have narcissistic personality disorders, is they categorize their children. They have the golden child, they have the scapegoat, so on and so forth. It's like they categorize people based off of favoritism, right? Favoritism usually has nothing to do with the fact that this is a super special human being, but because they fall under a category that the narcissistic parent or guardian deems as sometimes socially acceptable, or under their conditioning of what they believe is perfection or a great child, great kid, great human being, right? And the other children that may be more eccentric, more not as outgoing or athletic or academically, strong. They may be more artsy, they may be more shy or what have you, or they could, they may not choose to live a straight heterosexual life, right? So that child may be looked upon as the problematic child, or the least, oh, I don't brag about that one, or this is the one that I'm always going to punish, make them feel bad, hype up this child because they're really handsome or they're really pretty conventionally, or they're very smart, or they're very athletic, or they have all these things going on. People like them. This is the golden child. They're extroverted, So when you have that type of conditioning, people don't know how to just love people for who they genuinely are and embrace them. I have a problem with that. It's a challenging thing, like where with families, it's like people can't just live their lives uniquely as their own. Some people are not meant to get married and have kids or even want that. That may not be a part of their journey. They may not want that for themselves, They may not live a strict 9 to 5 lifestyle or go to school, go to college. And I'm not knocking 9 to 5s. I'm not knocking education because, those things are important. They're needed when needed, so on and so forth, right? However, like other people's journeys matter too, Not everybody is going to live the cookie cutter lifestyle, the American dream, or whatever structure, whatever culture you come from. And that's the problem with families. It's like that's the removal, the absence of love, pure love that's shared. I love you as long as you fit into a box of what I can categorize and make sense of, or what fits a conditioning or social conditioning. Or you can't be beautiful but have a moment of humanness and humanity where you have your days of being depressed or have your days of self-doubt, or you're someone that may be very intelligent and very strong but have a moment to where sometimes you don't understand and can't make sense of life. It's like people don't allow people to have humanity and just be human. You know what I'm saying? You're not as desirable when you're human, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Unless it's like you're self-loathing and you're beating yourself up and, oh, what was me? And then make somebody else feel good. Like, ooh, this bitch is feeling some type of way. They're not as this or that. Or where you are in a place where people feel the need to fix you because it makes them feel good about themselves. Be like, oh, let me fix you. Or it makes them feel better to say that, okay, I'm in a hierarchy where you need me. That's not real love either. So you may have dealt with that type of energy. And because of that, you feel like all I've been is just really being hunted. All I've been is this is just the wounding. This is what comes with being the deer. You know, the Bambi, this is just what comes with it. And that's not true. And I feel like that's the healing. That's the healing that is needed. Okay. You need to celebrate yourself. There's things that you're not seeing. And maybe this is literally going out and getting dressed. Okay. Getting cute, going out dancing. Some of you guys haven't been dancing in a long time. Maybe you want to dance, you want to take dancing classes or something like that, and you haven't done that in a while. Okay. You need that balance. The things that we feel are not healing is actually the things that heal us. When we start participating in life and doing like activities, little do we know these are the things that shift our energies. You know, it's like you transmute, like you pour in all of the sorrows, all of the confusion, the heaviness, when you like do something that you enjoy. Like it might not even be on your mind consciously, but subconsciously that's what you're doing. You're healing. You're shifting something when you participate in something that you enjoy doing. So some of you, it's literally dancing. And I've been seeing a lot of purple energy, like purple hues coming through. So something with purple may be significant, or wearing purple. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, or the bottom of the celebration card rather, was silver lining. And it's kind of giving Lion King vibes to me, even though this is an actual person. It's giving that imagery of the Lion King. And the Lion King is a perfect example of family dynamics and toxicity, but also destiny swapping, or the intention to take. So though at times it feels like things have been stripped or taken from you, okay, or in threat of taking from you, or you feel, I don't know, just getting like family dynamics coming through real strong right now. Your divine path will always lead you back to purpose. It's always going to lead you back. So, like, let's take Simba for an example. He was technically exiled from his land, right? His home. And he found family in a foreign place with these creatures that were not his own, right? He found that community. He was heavily deceived. He had the courage enough to go back to his home, okay, where love was. So sometimes it's like that one person, or just that one thought, that deceptive energy that creeps in that makes you think you're not lovable, or makes you believe that you're not good enough, or that you don't fit. You have to be careful with that, because yes, there may be those sinister people in your life, that one person that sometimes will plant that tiny seed to make you believe that no one cares about you, no one likes you, no one loves you. And you could carry that energy throughout your life, right? If you're not careful with that. The beautiful thing is this too, that for Simba, even though he had people in his home that really genuinely loved him and was concerned about his whereabouts, he met family within these two other creatures. So there is community outside of family and blood, yes, right? You will have that. So that lets you know that you're never truly by yourself. You're never truly alone in this world. Even if it's just one or two companions that you rock with and that rock with you. You don't have to have the whole world and everybody just like loving up on you and all about you. Because sometimes like that love be fake, you know? It don't be really based off of nothing true. It's just based off of perception, based off of projection, you know. But you are loved, right? So let's tap in. I'm going to use this deck too. Ask the Guides deck. I'm going to use this. I wish I would have got the vintage version of this, because this is a remake of the original deck. I actually like the original too, but I couldn't find it, so... But let's ask the guides. What guides are with you? Whoa, 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 whoa. What guides are with you? These cards flew out. You have the nature spirits and the healer guides. How about that? How about that? And you have another healer guide card with denial, number 35. Okay, 45 endings with nature spirits. Number 32 with forgiveness with the healer guides. Okay, so some of you guys, if I didn't mention this in this reading, I don't know what reading it was where I said get connected with the tree spirits. Get connected with them, okay? The tree spirits, okay? Sit with them, connect with them, tap into those living energies. Ask them what they need or what they're trying to show you or guide you, because they've been connected to this earth, this land longer than you, child, okay? Um, but definitely nature, getting in tune with that. And this is a part of the process of endings, okay? Some of you guys might be guided to dedicate something or give a libation to a tree, something that you're meant to release, or it's like a symbolic something that you're meant to give back to this tree. I think I've shared this plenty of times on my channel. If you're new here, you obviously don't know, or maybe you've heard this before, but I remember I would, like, my first crystal that I ever felt guided to buy happened to be a rose quartz. I didn't know nothing about rose quartz, but I loved the pink, and I was like, oh, okay. And at that time, I was going through a dark night of the soul. I was depressed, kind of lost, didn't know what I wanted to do, was feeling uh, kind of just lifeless. Like the job I was at, I hated it. Um, I had recently walked away from a relationship that was very heavy and just a lot of trauma, just a lot of toxicity. So I had a lot of energy weight on me, and that was like my stone that I carried with me. It was kind of like what really helped me process or assisted me with processing and healing. So I believe it was like a moon, some sort of moon at that time. I don't know what moon, full, new, whatever. But I was guided to take that rose quartz and like bury it by a tree, like give it back to the earth. And that's what I did. And as I was doing it, I boohooed, I cried. I was like bawling. But that was purging. That was me releasing. It wasn't like, oh, my poor crystal, bye. It was like whatever I was carrying, whatever I was processing and healing, like I was giving that back to nature to take that. So that could resonate with you, okay? And then you have the forgiveness card with the healer guides. The forgiveness is most likely, yes, the energy that you gave. You may feel very regretful about that. You may resent yourself and may resent others for what you've given. You have to forgive. You must forgive yourself, okay? You have two angels by your side. They're encouraging you to do this. And as you genuinely release out of your hands what you've been holding on to, energetically speaking, whatever you've been holding on to, once you surrender it and release it and let it go and let these angels take it for you, there's some type of wisdom that comes. It's like you are initiated spiritually, entrusted with greater clarity, greater wisdom, greater discernment, okay? Maybe even some spiritual abilities that you're tapping into more of when you let this energy go. It's like, you guys think about energy this way. When you want something new and you don't have the space to fit something new in your life, okay, it makes it very difficult for something new to come in when something is in its place that is outdated or that is served its purpose or no longer fits into your space. It's like, if you're ready for more or greater capacity or something new, you have to release what is no more, what is no longer necessary, right? Or maybe never was in its place, right? So if you also too, when it deals with the heart, unforgiveness sits in your body and it can cause illnesses, right? In your body. That weight of that energy of unforgiveness sits in your body and becomes things, becomes illnesses, becomes mental imbalances, hormonal imbalances, all these different things until you release. So it's like spirit. Okay, if you have the spirit of unforgiveness, how, especially unforgiveness towards yourself, it's like you're punishing yourself, right? You're punishing yourself sitting in unforgiveness. So you want blessings to come your way, but you don't believe that you're worthy. You're upset with yourself. You resent yourself at the moment. You can't, it's like you're beating yourself up. You're holding yourself prisoner to something. So how can you fully receive blessings with an open heart in a place of flow when you have that resentment towards yourself? In order to receive in a flow, in an energy that is in a healthy alignment, a beautiful alignment, the beautiful things that you may want, your heart has to be in a well state to receive that. You know what I mean? Because when it's presented to you, you don't know what to do with it. You may not see it for the blessing that it is, or you won't know how to keep it. So that forgiveness, and it also too, if it's unforgiveness towards others, you're blocking connection. Okay, whether you have connections that are healthy in your life, sometimes you can't even receive that because the people on your heart that have hurt you, you hold that resentment towards them, you hold that unforgiveness, that it makes it very hard for you to receive or even recognize healthy connections, right? Or if you're trying to attract love, but you have unforgiveness towards an ex, you have unforgiveness towards your mama, you have unforgiveness towards this or that person, you're not going to be able to fully receive a healthy love, even if it presents itself to you. The receptivity in your heart to experience that and to be present with that is going to be very challenging for you because that block of unforgiveness is there. So they want you to release that, okay? They're helping you to release that. You're not by yourself. That denial card, certain things that sometimes we can't see, they're helping you to remove that veil, okay? That is the energy that is being cleansed, is any type of denial, any false perceptions you've had about yourself that are harmful to you essentially, okay? And then at the bottom of that card was the adventure with the guardian angel. So your guardian angel is also with you, helping you to break the chains that have kept you captive, that kept you from being free. Okay. Yes, a lot of you have this energy, like earth angel vibe, earth angel energy, where sometimes you can be a guide that wants to be there for everyone, that wants to pour into everyone, be the good in the world when it's in this ugly, dark world. You want to be that light for other people. You want to be that big heart, that safe haven for people. But at what cost? You know what I mean? Like, even if you're on assignment, you have to know, okay, certain roles or certain assignments are just that, they're assignments. They're not meant for you to click up or to stay. Sometimes, like, we get attached to the assignment that we have with people. Some people we're just meant to encounter for a time, for a season, for a moment. We're not meant to be in their lives. The easier we let go of the attachment of what is. People that are meant to stick around in your life, they stick around, and it's without condition. It's without these heavy constraints or attachments. And that's very hard for people that need connections to be attachments. Like, you have to feel that attachment to a person in order for it to feel safe to you. Because if you hear the word freedom, it's like, oh, well, this person will leave me. This is not going to be a forever person, or this person is not always going to be my friends. But if you look at it from a different perspective, we don't own anybody, not even our babies. You know, our children, they're our children because they come from us, but we don't own them as human beings. They're their own sovereign beings, just as we are, right? Our partners, we choose to partner up with each other, but we're still our own individuals, and we will leave when it's our time to leave off this earth. So we don't own, and no one owns us, technically, right? Not in natural order. It's not natural to try to own other people, other human beings. Even with animals, this is something I had to learn, especially from cats. Cats are very sovereign beings. They don't play that. If they want to go off for an adventure for a few days, weeks, months, sometimes they come back later or they'll never return. That's kind of also too that release of, like, allow beings, creatures to be their own sovereign. You know, the beautiful thing about community and tribe is we're always there for each other, but we allow each other to be free and to be our authentic selves and love each other anyway. Okay. So, all right, I'll pull one more card. One of the, I'm going to pull like a self-care card, and then we'll get into the water energy. Magical ways to use water. Okay. Trying to see if I see any repeating numbers in these cards, but I don't think so. Okay. Aromatherapy. Okay. So some of you guys would benefit from aromatherapy. Aromatherapy. Yes. The scent and smell does something for me too. I love certain scents and smells, and like certain essential oils do have different healing powers. Like lavender makes you feel calm, makes you want to rest. Some give you like that boost of energy, like vanillas or citruses, um, or just like sacred energy protection and clearing. Certain incense or just scents, aromatherapies, oils, all of that. Yeah, I'm gonna pull one more. Thank you, sis. All right, let's see. Connect with your ancestors. Yeah. That's a big one. I don't feel like it's, you know what I mean? Like, okay. On life's journey, I feel like the most important connections that you should hone in on is the relationship with God, source, with yourself, with your ancestors, and those of your tribe in your physical world as well. Like those are the most important connections that found you and ground you. Okay, don't exclude yourself because the relationship you have with yourself is important. But connect with your ancestors, and connecting with your ancestors is, it's very colorful, it's very vast. It's not one way to do it. It's not always conventional. It doesn't always on the surface seem or appear like I'm connected with my ancestors, because a lot of times it's like through yourself, through your own intuitive navigation and like what you feel. Sometimes it is like cultural things that you connect with, or discovering cultural things that resonate with you or that you're called to. But ultimately it's like an inner compass and inner guidance within you, because technically you are your ancestors, right? You share the same blood, the same lineage. And if you're multicultural or you have different ethnicity in your background, those things may vary as well. But ultimately, you are that conduit, that connection, and that bridge between your ancestors, right? So that's important. And there's a tree in the center of her heart space. So something with trees, okay? Your ancestors very well could be, connected to the trees, or that is where a lot of their spiritual practice is centered around the reverence of trees, things like that. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, that's what I'm getting for the reading, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay. Sending you guys much love. Yeah, if you guys ever want a reading with me, I would love to assist and help, okay? Give me something challenging to work with, okay? Some healing. We can go into depth, what you need, okay? I'm the reader. Don't think I'm just here for love readings and predictions and shit like that. No, honey. Okay, I do this, okay? It's more personal when it's just like one person and not collective. I do my best with the collectives. So let's tap into the magical ways that you can use water, okay? Because water is also a very powerful realm of energy. So before we get into the magical ways, let's get into water itself, okay? As we are made up, a great deal or portion of us, our human body is made up of water, okay? And water is a very powerful source, because water itself, I also, before I skip to like the metaphysical side of it, but like, if you think about it, when we're in our mother's womb, we spend majority of that, right? In their womb, it's water, right? It's like this liquid that we're dwelling in, like we're little swimmers, we're little tadpoles, we look like little tadpoles, and then we grow into, you know, this human baby, right? This human body. So we are birthed of water, okay? We're birthed of that. So that's really the essence. We exist in water. So when I think about water, I think of returning back to self, which is why sometimes like I'll have moments where I really crave being by some type of body of water. Like I have to. There's times where I feel like I just need to take a bath, or I need to take a spiritual bath. to recharge, to recenter, to release, or to just sometimes just feel comfort. I just lay in the water. Like sometimes it's not even about no fancy shit. Just I just want to be in the water. Okay. Um, and it's also very powerful too because in the water, I can't speak for everyone, but like when I'm taking a shower or just in the bath, or if I'm like near a body of water or swimming, things just start to like clarity comes, downloads come, visions come a little bit more quicker, more faster. They flow better, almost like when you're in your sleep state, when you're sleeping or you're in between that state of you're about to fall asleep but you're still awake, or you're about to wake up, or you're waking up like you just woke up, like that in between state, kind of lucid almost energy. You're here, but you're not here, but you're aware, and it's more fluid because you're in between realms almost, if that makes sense. On a metaphysical level, like, you know, a lot of scientists have experimented with water and how when you speak to water, or when you play certain music, or when you place certain things in water versus other cups of water or whatever, how it affects them, right? So if you speak light and love over one cup or body of water versus another, it's like you can see the distortion versus the clarity, or the clear water, the purified looking water. So just again, what comes to self, when you speak to yourself in words and vibrational tones, it picks up, your body is going to pick that up. It's going to register. Also, when you speak to your water, drinking your water is also another powerful tool that many people experiment and do this. It's a spiritual practice of blessing their water before they drink it, or charging it, setting the tone for, you know, if you wanted to cleanse and heal your body, or charge you, give you energy, or something with manifestation. And these things have been scientifically proven. Like, water does retain vibrational energy, right? Whether you put it under a microscope, whether you just sit and observe it physically for yourself, okay? So water, that's my thing. Like, I love working with water in different ways. So it's not a one size fit all thing, because you can definitely do your own thing, because spiritual connectedness is based off of like how you connect with spirit, what you feel intuitively guided to do and how to do it, right? On top of that, maybe traditions or things that may, you know, work and approve. So definitely you can use water as a way to regulate your nervous system. So whether that's like through salt baths or showers, you know, cleansing with intention. You know how some people, they splash water on their face to like wake them back up and jolt them. Things like that. Like, it could be just as simple as that, right? Like I said, drinking water with intentionality, whether you're praying over it, visualizing with it. So that's always a thing. Um, so yeah, let's get into the magical part of it. If you want to do like a quick little mini ritual or whatever with water, um, you can take like a glass of water or a bowl of water, maybe a candle, and like sit and like set intentions around what you would want clarification, cleansing of, or maybe a removal of emotional heaviness, because water is cleansing, especially salt water. So like, excuse me, if you are ever wanting to do something with cleansing, just like something real quick of cleansing your energy, your aura, salt water, preferably sea salt. If you could find sea salt water, or sea salt, and then like put it in your water. If you are lucky enough to be able to gather some ocean water, if you're near the ocean, with respect, asking, you know, the ocean, do I have your permission? And you have that. But if you don't have access to ocean water, definitely get you a cup or bowl of water, and pour in a little bit of sea salt. And then like, I don't have my bowl on me, but like, let's say this is a bowl. you would fill it up with water just enough, and then like take maybe a candle, like a small, it doesn't have to be this tall, like a 7-day candle, but it can be any type of candle. With the intention, I always talk about color magic, because color magic has different colors, have different frequencies, right? Or especially if you're like intentionally doing chakra work, energy healing work, certain colors correspond with those different energy points in your body, the different chakras. But let's say if you want to do something for healing and purification, let's say you would use like a white candle, or you can use like different colors of blue. Um, Maybe also emotional healing can also correspond with a green candle, because green can be connected to the heart chakra, or a pink candle for healing of love and self-love or forgiveness, things like that. You can use a pink candle or something like that, or just white, it's fine. Okay. And then you can just ask, if it's about clarity, I release any illusions without, losing myself, or I choose clarity without losing compassion for myself. I water my spirit. I water and cleanse my spirit, whatever you feel guided. Like you could say that and speak that to the water, speak that to your candle, activate that energy. And then when you dispose of it, because I find this to be important, like sometimes some waters I use, I just pour it down the sink. Um, but some waters, I don't feel guided to just dispose it that way. Sometimes I might be guided to pour it on my hands, pour it on my feet, maybe sometimes pour it over my head, or pour it into a plant, give it back to the earth or something like that. Sometimes I might keep that water for like an altar purpose or something like that. It just depends on what I feel guided to do. So let's get into magic. Let's get into the magic, okay? Let's talk money magic, because water and money go hand in hand. Why? Because if you use the play on words, currency, right? We think about the currents, the water currents, and currency, okay? They go hand in hand. There was a time where cowrie shells were used as currency. Okay, cowrie shells are also connected to the ocean, connected to water and water spirits. So if you think about money and currents, water, it all goes hand in hand. Some cultures associate fish with currency and abundance as well. So there's that as well. Okay, so money magic and water go hand in hand. So ways that you can do this, and this is something that I'll share with you. Okay. So when I talk about money, I don't talk about it from an unrealistic standpoint. Mind you, if a person, because there is ways that people can manifest like a large sums of money, that is a thing that's very possible. But from a grounded perspective as well, start from a place that feels comfortable or feels kind of practical to you. So if you know that you need $50 for something specific, or you need, let's say, money for groceries or gas for the week or something like that, something that's manageable, pretty tangible, something like that. Okay. So you don't have to limit your magic, but like to keep it practical, keep it grounded, you get you a bowl of water. Okay, it doesn't have to be a big bowl. It could be a small bowl, preferably something like a glass bowl, because I like to see the water. I like to see it. Okay, so like a small bowl of like water. It could be a clear plastic bowl, or clear glass bowl. So you're going to obviously add water. I like to, because I feel like temperature matters when it comes to even working with water. So like for me personally, warm water is like active moving water, and it makes me feel more connected to the ocean. Sometimes the ocean water is heavily, it's like fucking freezing. It's cold. But for me, cold water is like it stills and it freezes and it stagnates things. So I don't want to use cold water for this type of work. Hot water, you could use that, but I would say like more lukewarm water. You could pour the sea salt, again, sea salt water. You could pour a little bit of Florida water in there, or your own Florida water, like your own handmade water. Homemade is always best. Um, pour a little bit of that in there. Put you some coins in that mug, okay? If you're a numerology person, the number of coins might be significant to you, or what the coins, like um their their value, the value of that coin, whether it's 5 cents, 10 cent, if that equals out something to you, like a number that's significant, you can do it that way. Um, so for example, like if you work with Yemoya, Yemoya's number is 7. So you could put like 7 coins in there, or seven, something that equates to 7. Okay, a coin. Um, you can put Kyrie shells in there because Kyrie shells are currency as well, especially for those of you that work with um, certain cultural ancestors, okay, or deities, goddesses, gods, orishas, what have you. You can add herbs in there. You can add spices like cinnamon, cloves. Those are good for money or traction, fast moving energy too. You can use bay leaves. Bay leaves are good for money magic. Alfalfa is good for money magic. But you don't got to do too much with that. You don't even have to do all of that, but if that's what you're led to do. But if you already have like Florida water in there, especially if it's natural Florida water, you most likely won't need to do all of that. Um, then you're going to activate it by speaking affirmations into your water. Okay. You can definitely leave it at an altar space if you're guided to. You can leave it at your front door inside of your home as well, or leave it somewhere in your kitchen or somewhere in your bathroom. Bathroom is water kingdom, child. That is water kingdom. A clean bathroom at least. So you can leave it in your bathroom, as long as that bowl is activated, as long as you need it, as long as like whatever your intention is set. If it's been completed, then pour it out where you're guided to pour it out. So that's just like a little quick thing. Um, that's another one. Um, this is a good one. So you don't have to do this, but this is just a good one. Same thing with the money bowl thing, but this time you're going to add your debit and credit cards in there. If you have some currency that you don't mind, like some money you don't mind getting your dollar bills wet or whatever, that's another thing. I wouldn't leave it in there for too long, but that kind of just blessing those things, that's another good one. With water and money. Uh Trying to think. I feel like everyone should have a water fountain in their house. And I forgot to set mine up, child, because I have one, but because I used to like put coins in mine. I had like this really cute Buddha water fountain. It was like a little mini fountain or whatever, like that you had to plug up or whatever, but it was small. And some people, like, if you can afford like them big fancy ones, I remember back in like the 90s, like way back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, like those big ass water fountain stations, those were so popular back in the day. Like to have that in your house. I don't know if anybody still has those type of things, but like that was like the thing. But you should have, especially to keep flow in your house, especially if you work with water spirits, okay? Keeping a water fountain in your house should be like, that should be law. Where you can fill it with coins and stuff like that. You know, make sure you're cleaning it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else. Ha. Mm. Okay, we've done enough with the water man or the money magic part. So let's talk about spiritual baths. It's another popular one. Spiritual baths can be used for many different purposes. For healing, for protection work, for resetting, for beauty and attraction. for spiritual cleansing, for unhexing, uncrossing, for road opening, all of that bedazzle bejazzles. Okay, so water is the spiritual baths, or just submerging yourself in a body of water, whether it's a bath or if it's for ritual purposes such as initiations or even baptisms. Those are sacred practices. Just with cultural, what I've learned, especially about the church church culture, or the black church specifically culture, is definitely rooted in a lot of ancient practices, indigenous and African practices, right? So baptisms and all of that, that comes from spiritual initiations. Okay. That within itself, because those women that were, the big mamas of the church back in the day, those women worked with their spiritual practices from their lands, right? Before being conditioned into Christianity, they had to incorporate their indigenous practices into what they did. So that's why there's so much connection to hoodoo and root work with the church. Even in the Catholic Church, ritualistic, a lot of Roman spiritual practices and things like that. That shit is cloaked in the church. Candles and altars and oils and herbs, and I looked at the Bible, because there's like a few things in the Bible I'm like, they really talking about herbal healing and root work, but we just shame people because we don't understand it. It's okay if we say, oh, it's in the Bible, God did a foot wash, did a, that is that stuff right there, that's ancient practices beyond Christianity. Those are indigenous practices. So like when we say things, when I say indigenous, not just like Native American indigenous, but like different cultures around the world, certain practices, whether it's African practices, where it's Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latin, or just those different practices around the world, you'll find bits and pieces of that in church culture. So I learned how to how to consecrate and pray over certain oils and all of that. I learned that from church. And that shit right there, that's some hoodoo shit. Working with herbs. It was never looked at as like witchcraft or spell work. It wasn't labeled that until, you know, by spectators and people that were threatened by that type of healing work, that it becomes something that was demonic. But our ancestors just looked at it as a practice, a way of life, a way of healing, a way of making way out of something, out of nothing. Also, too, what I've learned as of recent, that there were what they called the mammies, or the maidens of the slaves, that knew their herbs, knew how to use certain herbs and things like that to cure and help people on the plantation, even master's family, their children, through certain things that they would create, certain medicines that they would create. And some of these things would be stolen from them and patented as their own, or they would shame them into not practicing that, not helping. So some of this stuff had to be underground. Some of these healings had to be underground, had to be cloaked, had to be hidden. If you ever learned about the Orishas versus the saints, like you see those saint candles, usually they have them at the botanicas, or the usually at the Mexican markets. They'll have like the saint candles, like the Saint Michael's, the Lady of Guadalupe, so on and so forth. They'll have like these different saints, right? From what I've researched and from what I've heard multiple times is consistent, is that those saints were used to cloak the veneration or the worship or devotional work with certain orishas. So certain saints would correspond with, let's say, for example, Ogun, Shango, Oya, all of that, right? that they will correspond with those. So again, going back to the whole church thing, to bring it back home, back to the water, baptism, baptism, and when they go through the initiation work and baptism, in that sense, it's very similar. Okay. Water is the mother. Yemoya is known as the mother of the ocean. Okay. So when you think about water and the mother, going back to the womb space, again, when you go into the water, you're being born again, and you're being like in church, you're being reborn again, or you're being initiated into something, right? So it goes back to mother, birth, rebirthing, cleansing work. All of that goes hand in hand. Whether they teach you you're a born again Christian or what have you, it everyone can agree in these practices that it represents some sort of reconnecting, recentering, rebirth, renewal. So sacred baths or spiritual baths, whatever you want to call them, whatever your intentions are, those are powerful works, definitely. Next is head washes and foot washes. I kind of talked about that a little bit. That's also something that is in the Bible. They talk about foot washes and that whole thing. So head washes and foot washes. Head washes is good for clarity, good for removing mental fog. Also, it's good for spiritual protection. You can use like water that has been prayed over, blessed, sometimes with specific herbs. Hyssop. Hyssop is also a very good herb to use for spiritual cleansing, uncrossing, unbinding, quote unquote, removing hexes or, evil eye, that sort of thing. And even there's a scripture in the Bible that I actually use, like I recommend other people use as well as a reference. Anytime, if you feel guided to do a head wash, to use the scripture because it talks about spiritual renewal and cleansing with hyssop in the motherfucking Bible, child. I'm gonna do a video. I am, because I had one of my good sisters. She told me that she would like to see a video, and I'm gonna do it. A few other people in my time. I'm not like a scholar or anything, but I just correlate things in a certain way, and that I gather spiritually and like kind of see some things, some connections, some contradictions in a way. I see some similarities in certain practices that are demonized in the Bible. So I'm just like, okay. But no, so yeah, head washes are good. You can use coconut water, okay? Coconut water for your head washes, some pure coconut is also very good. Very, 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 very good for head washes, okay? You can use just pure water with prayer and intention. You can add some hyssop or boil a little with hyssop. Let it steep, let it cool. Put in your water, pour it over your motherfucking head, okay? Pray over yourself, all of that. That's a good one. Foot washes. Foot washes are good for grounding, also cleansing, cutting off any spiritual residue. I would personally use it like, it can be used as, for me personally, I would say like foot washes would be good, really good as far as people like on spiritual, like that are on a spiritual path that they are aware of, or there's sometimes where they feel lost, or just as a protection on their journeys and their path and on their way. Like I would use foot washes for that particularly, that specifically. Maybe even after you've been in a chaotic environment or energy, or you feel like like your path, you want to uncross that path, that walk, foot washes. That might not be something that everyone agrees with, but that's just me personally. Okay. What else? Baptisms. We kind of already talked about baptisms. Baptisms can be taking place in nature, oceans, lakes, rivers. Okay. Traditionally, back in like, the old church days, they would literally use rivers and creeks and stuff to baptize. So, and some cultures still do it today. Some cultures do the ocean. I'll never forget. I'll probably do like a whole story time on this, but I'll never forget. Um, I knew I was going to California, so I had made plans to go to California, and something told me that I needed to cleanse myself in the ocean. And little like now that I look back, or at the time I didn't know that what I was doing was actually like some form of a baptism, some sort of ritual like cleansing. But I was guided to wear all white. And something told me to go to the ocean and dedicate myself, go into the waters and purify and cleanse myself. Now, as a baby, as a child, I went through the christening. I'd done the baptism as a baby, as a child, and all of that. So I'm familiar with that side of baptism. But I was just guided to do this. Go to the ocean, dip yourself in the water, cleanse, completely go into the water. And I'll never forget, like, when I got out of the water, I felt like they call it speaking in tongues in church. Some people might call it light language, whatever. But these unknown tongues, right, was trying to come out. I felt it trying to come out. It was like kind of a little bit coming out, but it wasn't fully like free flowing. It wasn't freely coming out. Fast forward maybe a few months after that, maybe close to a year after that, I took this spiritual bath with these herbs that a friend of mine gave me. She didn't tell me what it was for yet, but I was like, I had the herbs for a little bit, knew I was going to use them at some point, but just wasn't in a rush. I was like, okay, just, they were there. And I had a really bad argument with a family member, and I remember just feeling like shit and heavy. And I was like, I'm going to take the spiritual bath. Okay. Got into the bath, felt all this energy being released. I'm sitting in it. I feel like a presence with me, and I'm just like not a negative presence, but I just felt this energy. After that, I got out of the bath. I put on a sermon because I still listen to, Christian content, things like that. And I was listening to a motivational sermon, and it was like a compilation of different sermons. It wasn't just like one person. And there was one portion of that video where one of the men that was speaking, he said something that spoke to my spirit. I felt it because I'm still feeling shitty a little bit. I'm laying in my bed, like, don't want to do anything. Just like, I just feel like shit. I heard very clearly and very audibly in my spirit, sit up. And I sat up. And then I heard, take a deep breath. I take a deep breath. I exhale. These tongues start coming out, and I could not stop these tongues from coming. I just kept speaking. And I'll never forget, I kept saying, Yemoya, Yemo. I don't know why, but it just kept coming out. And it was like crying out, not like in sadness, but like relief. And like I was being comforted or something. I don't know how to explain it, but I was speaking in the tongues, and the only thing I could make out was I kept saying Yemo, but it wasn't like that. It was almost like Yemaya. I think that's how I was pronouncing it, but I just kept, I don't know how to explain it. I could not stop it. And my sister was at home at the time. She probably was in the other room like, what the fuck? Like, what is going, because I couldn't stop it. And I probably was going for like a good 10 minutes, and I was crying. I was releasing. I could not stop it. I've never felt that release like that ever in my life that I could describe. So I'll never forget that. So say all that to say is that spiritual cleansing and water go hand in hand. That emotional release, ancestral connection also that comes with that, the purification behind it, it can also like help catapult forward movement, help you to let go. If you use like the lake, something with more still water, it could help you with emotional processing, maybe reflecting, be in stillness, be present. But natural water is powerful, child. It's very powerful. Okay. Another magical way you can use water is through your home through your sacred spaces, you know, altars, wherever you do like spiritual, if you do spiritual work, object cleaning, okay? That aguanila energy, where you're cleansing your space. So you can use like mists and sprays. You can use like, you know, pouring. So you can do it to clean your windows, your doorways, the corners of your rooms, your altar, your tools, like put a little bit of spiritual water, consecrated water. I make my own altar waters. This is my siren water. So it has more of essential oils in it and some rosemary. So it gives off that energy. And I also put a little bit of sea salt water in there. Vodka. Yeah. So not exactly like Florida waters. I do make my own Florida water as well. And you could put it in like spray bottles and just, it's almost gone, but like spray it around your mist after you do your spiritual work, before you do your spiritual work, around your altar tables, things like that. You can pour some of it in your floor washes, like in your mop waters, or just, you know, to cleanse, welcome in good energy in your home. Or if you need, like, if you have some people over that had a little bit of stank energy or whatever, you know, or you've been feeling a little bit depressed and you just want to do a floor wash or renewal, you could definitely do that. The atmosphere, cleanse it out. You can use salt water. You can use Florida water. You can use rose water. You can use spiritually activated, just clear, pure water, and set intentions in that and mop your water with that, okay? Or spray. You know, you can just be very, very simplistic. You don't got to do too much. No herbs, no all of that. Just a spray bottle of purified water that you prayed over, or you could put some sea salt in it, pray over it, spray that mug around and about, okay? You can even do it in your car. Cleanse your car, cover yourself, your workspace. You know, if you work in the office, that's always a good thing, because that energy, that's a whole nother energy sometimes. It's too many people's energy. But yeah, you can use that. So lastly, I'm going to use an honorable mention, which is rainwater. I love using rainwater because to me, it's like it's coming from above the heavens, right? I like using rainwater. The type of rainwater definitely matters, whether it is thunder water, whether it's hail ice rainwater, whether it's summertime water, whether it's on what day of the week it's on, if you work with planetary magic, if it's a full moon, new moon, or a certain type of moon when it's raining, that matters as well. So I've definitely saved different types of water. Sunday water, which is solar energy. Sunday water for me is like what amplifies, what brings about positive cleansing, positive energy. If you're using, let's say, Jupiter water, you can use that water during days for open roads, road opening, cleansing. For spiritual protection and warfare, you can use storm water. For sure, storm water is powerful as a mug. You can use that. You can also, Tuesday, if it's raining on a Tuesday, which is Mars Day, again, spiritual warfare, spiritual protection. You want to use that water. You can pour a little bit of that in your spiritual bath, or you can pour it over yourself, or you can bless or anoint a candle that you're using with that. You know, I keep me rainwater. I put it in big vases of water and small shit like this on my altar if I need it. Okay. And this one happens to be thunder water. This one right here. Um, yeah, I used up one of mine. Yeah, one of mine's gone, but I keep me some rainwater. And it's really good for your plants too. Like, I love using that for plants, cleansing them for that. But that's just a little honorable mention. Rainwater is a oldie but goodie, okay, for spiritual work. So, you know, also you can use thunder water to break and remove blockages and things like that. So, yeah. Nature is our friend, okay? Nature is our friend. It's our mama. It's our daddy. It's our cousins. It's our sisters. It's our brothers. Nature is our family, for sure. Okay, the elements. As long as we're respectful of them, We show reverence, respect. They got us. Oh yeah. That's all for the segment. That's all for the segment. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you like this video. Okay, share it with someone who may resonate with it. And as always, you guys be blessed. You guys be safe. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Whenever you're watching this, actually take care of yourselves. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.